Yeah, so guys, we were discussing about what is a vendor relationship and vendor management, or we can say we have already read about what is supply chain management. Now the topic is vendor relationship and vendor management. Basically, there is a very basic difference between a vendor and supplier. That a vendor is a third party entry for the distribution of material, and supplier is a we can say a particular relationship with the distribution team. But the vendor is a third person who supply your good directly towards the we can say the market. Okay, so the vendor management is the management and control by an entity on those third parties that supply goods and services to that entity. It means here is a third party, that is vendor, who supply the goods and services to the particular retailer directly. It is the process that empowers an organization to take appropriate measures for controlling cost, reducing potential risk related to the vendors, ensuring excellent services, deliverability, and driving values from vendors in a long run. Here we work for making a relationship and excellence between the vendors and the organization. So we have to think about, we have to measure the control. We can say we can control the cost. We have to reduce the potential risk which is related to the vendor for the long term, because there are number of suppliers we have and number of vendors. Now this is the decision of the particular organization on which they hire either it is vendor and supplier. Now what is involved in vendor management? Basically vendor management refers to the business goal identification, project definitions, and request for proposal creation. Next is vendor identification and shortlisting, vendor evaluation, risk assessment and selection, negotiation and contract management, relationship management, performance evaluation, on time payment, and continuous improvement. These are some, we can say, the characteristics which is involved in the vendor management. These are some challenges that comes when we are managing a vendor or we are selecting a vendor. Okay, now first of all, we have to identify the number of possibilities. When identifying vendor can make a decision difficult, but suppliers discovery platforms can make tasks more manageable. Here, if we are working for working to vendor management, we have to think about that if the decisions taking for the vendor is difficult or the supplier. So basically we have just that supplier discovery platform are more easier or manageable as comparison to the vendor management. Here the complexity, a large number of vendors can be impossible to manage. Organizations respond to this challenge by categorizing vendor by size of spend, strategic importance, risk, and other factors. Here is a very complex decision to select the vendor. So that can reduce the cost of supply, but the overall uh, spending, the size of spend and strategic importance, risk factors, you have to consider all the things because it's a very complex decision. A risk, any relationship with vendor exposes an organization to compliance and security risk. So risk mitigation is key component of vendor management. So the next one is what is contract management. You have to ensure vendor performance as outlined in a contract can be challenging, especially when large numbers of vendors are involved. Ensuring visibility of performance is a key. Next is managing cost. To manage the cost between the different vendors is a very difficult task. So, by short-term saving can be found by negotiating a good price for your organization. More significant cost saving can often be found through the establishment of long-term relationship with strategically important vendors. Here, the next point is driving values. An organization's supplier base is often its main source of innovation, even more so than its own research and development department. Good communication and effective relationship management with vendors can uncover opportunities for value through innovation. So now the next point is what is vendor rating? The performance appraisal, which should be done on various types of factors of the vendor, is termed as vendor rating. Basically, vendor rating can be rated on various characteristics. Vendor rating gives, as per the different characteristics of, after checking the characteristics, we rate every vendor to some points, and then we will easily calculate which particular vendor have the high ratings. So it is easy to performance for checking the performance and evaluate the performance of that particular vendor. That is called a performance appraisal. So these are some characteristics. Number one, delivery point of view. If the delivery of the particular vendor is in an effective manner, so we can give a high rating on that particular characteristics. Next one is quality. We will check the quality that the finished good which he is going to deliver will be packaging, and we can say the labeling packaging will be in a better manner, or is he wasting the material, so the quality of the product uh, will be damaged, or we can say defected. So the quality is also a very big concern which have to understand, or we can say it's a characteristics on which we rate the vendor. Next point is price. Yes, price is a very big concern. If a vendor is taking a high cost to deliver the particular product, so we will switch towards the suppliers. Okay, so vendor rating as per the price is also a very big concern. Next is the facilities. What kind of facilities a vendor is giving to you? As you know, when we shift a particular house from one place to another place, or a rental house we are taking, so we hire a packers and movers facility for the transportation. Okay, so this is the facility has given by the kind of vendor, or what are the facilities he is giving in between the transportation. Either he's, we can say, to pack the material, to pack your particular things from one place to another place, or the packaging is good or not. Your things will either damage, or is it going to damage or not. Okay, so there will be some scratching if you found, so you will rate that vendor low. Okay, so these are, there are some number of facilities which have been provided by the vendor. Next is human resource. So how many members or how many human resource a vendor is providing? Okay, to take your material and to shift your material at your place. You have to check each and everything which has been shifted from one place to another place. Next is top management. Yeah, top management are involved in vendor rating also. They will They will give the rating of every particular vendor as per the characteristics. Next is financial status. If the financial status is good of the particular organization, they will uh, hire a best to best vendor for the supply. These are some mathematical models for vendor rating. There are 7 models for use of vendor rating. These are as follow. Number one, categorical plan. Next is the weighted point plan, cost ratio method. Next is critical incident method, and the last one is checklist method. Now, we are only concentrated from these 7 models, only 5 models here. Basically, what is categorical plan? In this plan, personnel from various divisions like purchasing, engineering, quality control, etc., maintain informal evaluation record. They will maintain an information evaluation record for particular selection of the vendor. Next is for each major supplier, each person prepare a list of performances factor which are important to him, and each major supplier is evaluated against the evaluator's list of the factor. Each supplier is assigned an overall group evaluation, usually expressed in simple categories termed as preferred, neutral, or unsatisfactory. Here we have given some categories to different vendors, or either it is preferred, it is neutral, it is unsatisfactory, or satisfactory, or more preferred, or extremely preferred. There are a number of categories as given in the categorical plan. For that, we will easily prepare a categorical plan for the suppliers or vendors. This is a weighted point plan in which we can easily calculate the vendor rating, and through the vendor rating we can select which vendor is best and suitable for us. The performance factor to be evaluated by giving weights. The formulas for this plan are as follows. Total vendor rating is equal to the quality rating plus price rating plus delivery rating. On the basis of quality, how much rating you have given, what is the price rating, how much price is taking to you, and the delivery rating. Is the delivery effective or not? So on that basis, you can easily calculate total vendor rating. Next is percentage accepted. Okay. Next is percentage accepted. At what percentage you are accepting the lot or rejecting that lot? So the quantity accepted divided by quantity supplied, multiply by 100. So this is a percentage accepted. Now, what is quality rating? Quality rating is equal to the percentage accepted multiplied by weightage of the quality. Next point is what is price rating? Price rating is equal to the lowest price of the item divided by price of the item of vendor multiplied by 100. Here we can easily calculate the price rating is equal to the price ratio and weightage of the price. Now, the next or third formula is delivery promise capped is equal to delivery promise divided by actual delivery made multiplied by 100. The delivery rating is equal to delivery promise capped multiplied by weightage for delivery. So the maximum rating is equal to the rank 1. This is a method through which we can calculate the good vendor or good supplier for you. Next is cost ratio method. There are various costs such as cost of product, inspection cost, cost of rejection and replacement, etc., are involved before a product is accepted. There are some kind of cost ratio methods through which you can accept or replace the particular product. Next is, in this method, all costs are estimated and added product wise. Next is the ranking of the vendor is directly depends upon the cost. So, higher the cost, lower the ranking. If the cost is high, okay, cost ratio basically works. If the cost is going too high, you cannot select that kind of vendor. You have to select when the cost is low and the ranking is high. Next method is a critical incident method. In this method, critically evaluate the particular vendor. Evaluating vendor by this method required that a record of events and occurrence related to the buyer-vendor relationship which is maintained in each vendor's file. Here you will calculate or you will record the particular events and occurrence of the particular method. Okay, and what is the buyer vendor relationship? By it maintain each vendor's file. The kind of documentation can be used as a basis for discussing ways and means of overcoming difficulties, improving performance, acknowledging the existence of good business relationships, determining the competence of a vendor, and if necessary, considering termination. Next method is called a checklist method. Some companies use a simple checklist to evaluate their vendors. Buyer's checklist for evaluating vendors are reliability, financial strength, technical capability, after sales services, availability of material, buying convenience, and sales assistance. Now, a single vendor concept. Basically, a single supplier of each item or component. Here, a single vendor means a single supplier and a single entity who is going to purchase the products from these vendors. Okay, number one, buyer's point of view, a single vendor concept advantages are supplier is responsible for the item. Here, vendor or supplier is totally responsible for each and every product or item delivered. There is a close relationship with the supplier. Here, a single vendor have a relationship with the supplier. Sorry, a joint improvement program to reduce cost. Here, a vendor has to maintain improvement program for reducing the cost. Focus on the quality and efficiency because there is only a single supplier and a single buyer, so the quality and efficiency will be high. Next is more stable schedule. The schedules of the particular distribution will be stable as we know that there is only a single buyer and a single supplier. Next is less vendor management. Here the vendor management is lesser than other vendors. Next is easier traceability of the component. Next is single shipping route. Now the route of shipping is single. Next is consolidated delivery. Here the delivery is consolidated. Now, what are the disadvantages? And here are some disadvantages of single vendor. Number one is order dependency on one vendor. Here, A buyer have to be a patient that the order dependency and he is dependent to only a single vendor because there is a mutual understanding between them. Next is price dependency. If the vendor is single, so you are dependent to the cost. You cannot compromises with the cost or you cannot not negotiate with the prices. Now, as vendor point of view, the vendor rating are what are the advantages of vendor point of view for single vendor? Number one advantage is high share of business, better opportunity to plan resources, confidence in continuing demand, opportunity for process development. And only single disadvantages, as we say through the vendor point of view, is dependency on one customer in term of order and money. He is totally dependent to the one customer because the we can say there is a limited sources between the vendor and the supplier, and it is a single entity only. Now, next term which we are going to read is what are the learning curves. Basically, the learning curves, also known as experience curves, cost curves, efficiency curves, and productivity curves, illustrate how the cost per unit of output decreases over time as the results of accumulated workforce learning and experiences. So basically, learning curve is known as experience curve or cost curve or efficiency curve and productive curve. We can easily say that learning curves are that kind of curves through which we can illustrate how much the cost comes per unit of the output. Okay, and how can we decrease that cost over the time as the result of accumulated workforce learning and experiences. As if we are a new organization or new production unit, so we can say that in the initials we can say that the cost is high of your product because this is a new company and the cost or the investment cost is very high. That's why the overall cost of the production will be high and the distribution will be high. So the per unit cost of the product will high. But after the learning and experiences or different quality circle uses, or we can say maintenance management or quality management, or through the value analysis, we can easily found that our cost is higher than other products and how we can work to minimize that kind of cost. Experience and learning curves can be used in production planning, cost forecasting, and setting delivery schedules. Here we can say that experience and learning curves will help to use production planning or cost forecasting. It is helps to estimate the upcoming product cost, or we can easily calculate through the curves what will be the delivery schedules in upcoming products. Next is learning curves are geometric curves in which generally the x horizontal axis measures cumulative output and y vertical axis measure the cost per input. Through the graphs we can calculate on the x-axis we take output and on the y-axis we take the overall cost. Next point is the slope of learning curves denote the rate at which learning becomes transformed into cost saving. Here we can say that if the slope is going high, it means the cost will be high, and if the curves uh, become in the lower side, we say that it becomes the cost saving, and we will reducing the cost. Generally, cost decrease at a slower pace when cumulative output is higher. The learning curves effect and the closely related experiences curve effect represent the relationship between experiences and the efficiency. It means more the experience at a task, more is the efficiency. So it is the learning curve equation. The learning curve represents that more times a task have been performed, the less time will be required for each activity. It means the following formula is applicable for calculating the yield after iteration, where y or small x is equal to is the number of direct labor hours to produce the x limit, x unit. K is equal to the number of direct labor hours to produce the first unit. X denotes to the unit number and B is the learning percentage. Now, what is the plotting learning curve? This is a curve that shows that there is a progressive improvement in productivity but at a diminishing rate as the number produced increases. Here it is a curve showing that relationship between the consecutive numbers of unit produced x-axis, the time per unit produced x-axis as shown in the figure. The curve is mostly designated by its complements. Like if the rate of reduction is 20%, the curve is referred to an 80% learning curve. So this is the learning curve and increasing efficiency. So you can see that a question has given serial number. You can see the quantity in units per lot, and this is the cumulative 15, 15, 15, 30, 30, 60, 60, 120, or 120 and 40. Here the time in hours. Time 600, 360, 576, 924 and 1503. The total cumulative is 600, 960, 1536, 2460, 3963. So the average time per unit has taken is 40, 32, 25, 20 and 60. It is clear that all the production quantities doubles. The average time per unit decrease. If the quantity has doubled, the average time taken is reduced by 20% of immediate previous time. So learning curve is very beneficial to reduce the overall time, or we can say the overall cost of production processes. Okay, thank you.